Hello students, welcome back to Unix programming class. In the previous class we saw file related commands cat and cp and the respective options and the different methods of their usage. In the today's class we will see some other commands which are related to files. Let us start with rm command. RM stands for remove, which is used for deleting the files. Okay. RM stands for remove, which is used for deleting the files, and you have also come across RMDIR, right? That is different. That is for removing the directories. Okay. RM is for removing the ordinary or regular files. RMDIR is for removing the directory files. Okay. Using rm command you can delete one or more files. That means at a time you can give multiple files as arguments. Okay, so if you give rm with multiple files you can remove multiple files, or if you give only one file as an argument with rm you can delete one file. Okay, and it should be used with caution. You should underline this. Okay, caution. It should be used with caution. That means if you delete a file once, there is no way that it can be recovered. Okay, so you should be very careful. And also, so this is the method of using the rm command. See here, rm command is used with 3 arguments, chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3. That means we are trying to delete 3 files. Okay, chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3. 3 files we are at a time giving as argument to rm, which will delete all those files together. Okay, so that is how you can use rm. If you give only rm chapter 1, then only chapter 1 will be deleted. Those are all regular files. Okay, and you can use with rm, instead of giving multiple files like this which are having same pattern, you can simply say chap star, isn't it? We have studied about this star meta character in the previous class, right? Meta character means it is a prefixed character, predefined character which has some predefined meaning. Okay, that is a meta character and has some special meaning. It has some special operation to do. Okay, so star is one such meta character. When it is used with some pattern, it matches anything, even nothing also it matches. Okay, so now when you say rm chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, or you say instead of writing all these 3, you can simply say chapter star, chap star. That means all the files which are starting with chap and followed by anything may be deleted. Okay, so any file which starts with chap, that means there can be a file with name chap also. Okay, there can be a file with name chap also that can be deleted, or there can be a file with chap 1, chap 2, chap 3, chap x, chap y, chap xyz, anything, chap 100, anything may be there. Okay, but it should start with chap and followed by anything. Such file names you can give with the pattern, you can represent with the pattern chap star. Okay, so it matches, star matches anything or nothing. See here, nothing, right? Chap, only chap also if you have in the file name, that will also be matched, because after chap nothing is there, no characters are there, then also it will match. Okay, so star matches nothing or anything. Okay, 1 2 3 xyz ABC, chap 100, anything it can be. Okay, so anything it may be there after chap, it will match any number of characters, any letters, digits or special symbols. If it is there, it will match. It can be a file name, can be like this also, chap with parenthesis, that also it will match. Okay, so all these patterns will be matched by this star. Anything, any character will be matched by the star. Okay, so then you can write this entire pattern as chap star, but you should be careful that if only chap 1, chap 2, chap 3 should be deleted, you can write this command. But if you have many chapters like chapter 1 to chapter 10, then if you say chap star, all 10 files, all 10 chapter files will be deleted. So if you don't want that to happen, if you want only 3 chapters to be deleted, then you can go for this file. But if you want all the chapters, all 10 chapters to be deleted, then you can say chap star. okay. And chap star is more dangerous because it will include every file which starts with a chap, okay. And I told you that a file once deleted you cannot recover, okay, you cannot get it back, it will be deleted forever. So you should be very cautious while using the rm command, okay. Then see, this is the other example here. Here it says rm programs chapter 1, programs chapter 2. What does it mean? See, here what we are giving directly without any path, right? Here directly we are giving rm chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. That means those chapters are there in our current directory only. But here what we are saying that chapter 1 is in programs directory, chapter 2 is also in programs directory, and we want to delete them, okay. So in such a case we have to give the path. What kind of a path this is? This is a relative path because it is not starting with a slash, okay. It is not starting with a slash. Directly we have taken programs because programs is there in our current directory. So path we are giving with respect to our current directory, hence it is a relative path, not an absolute path, okay. So here this rm command will delete the chapter 1 and chapter 2 files which are there in programs directory. You can go to some other directory and delete the files also by giving their paths. Then rm star, you can use rm star. What does it mean? Star means anything, everything, okay. So remove everything. Rm star means remove everything. So it will be very, very dangerous. All files will be gone, right? If you say rm star, all files will be deleted and you will lose all your files. Even some system files may also be deleted. Hence please don't try this anytime, okay. Ever don't try rm star, okay. Just you know that rm star will delete all the files which is there in your current directory. Please don't try them, okay. Try this command. Okay, next we have, it is more dangerous, okay. So this rm star is more dangerous. It deletes all files silently. Silently in the sense it will not ask you second prompt, it will not give you a prompt to accept. Do you want to delete it? Like as we get in our cell phone, right? When we are selecting some pictures from our gallery and we want to delete, it will say deleting these many files. Suppose you have selected 10 pictures from your gallery to be deleted, it will ask deleting 10 items. When you say yes, then it will delete. Such prompt it will not give you. Secondary acceptance it will not take, directly it will delete. So it is more dangerous. Accidentally if you give rm star, you will lose all your files. So please don't ever try this. Then options of rm. So let us see what options we have with rm. Interactive deletion with -i. So this -i we have also used with copy command, right? Interactive copying. Interactive means we are having communication with the user, okay. User will we will ask the user to whether to remove or not, whether to copy or not. Secondary acceptance we will take, okay. For that purpose we use the -i option, which is called as interactive deletion. Ask the user for confirmation. Second confirmation we will ask with -i option. Before removing any file, you can take the confirmation of the user. Then we have, this is the example how to make use of interactive deletion. Let us say rm with -i and we are deleting 3 chapters, chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3, right. So now what happens, it will delete all the files, chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3. It will delete all files, all 3 files, chapter 3, chapter 1, chapter 2. If you don't give -i, it will without asking delete it, but you have used -i here, so it will prompt you before deleting it like this. Remove chapter 1, rm says remove chapter 1, yes or no. So if you say yes, it will be deleted, chapter 1 will be deleted, okay. If you say yes, chapter 1 will be removed. You can say Y or you can say complete yes word. Here it will be deleted. Okay, Y also or yes also means the same thing, but anything other than Y or yes will be treated as no. Any other character, you can say NO, no, or you can say simply N, or you can say G, H, any letter other than Y or yes, it will be considered as no only. Next, see, for each file it is asking you want to delete chapter 1, you want to delete chapter 2. If I say no, then chapter 2 will not be deleted. Then it will ask chapter 3, and suppose if you press enter without typing anything, okay, then also it is considered as no. Okay, only Y or yes will be taken as acceptance, confirmation, but any other thing other than Y or S will be taken as not a confirmation. Okay, it will not delete the file in that case. So how many files will be deleted in this case? For our response, this file will be deleted, which is chapter 1. This will not be deleted, as well as this will not be deleted, right? This will not be deleted. So chapter 1 is only deleted, chapter 2, chapter 3 will not be deleted, because we have given not the yes confirmation. Y removes the file. Okay, if you give Y, it will remove the file. Any other response, leave the file undeleted. Then recursive deletion. We have recursion with deletion also. You can use capital minus R or small minus r. Anything is recursive only. Okay, anything is recursive only to delete the files in recursion. Recursion means in the previous class we have studied that, right? Let us say we have a directory called programs, and under programs let us say we have two directories, S1 subdirectories S1 and S2, and let us say we have one file also F1, and under S1 we have S3 subdirectory and F2 file, and under S3 we have S4 and F3 file. So this is a complete file structure. Okay, here we can let us say have S2 is having a file, let us say F4. Okay, so this is the structure of the directory. So this entire directory structure will be deleted if you say rm minus r programs. So this is the programs directory, right? So rm minus r programs, if you say, the entire directory structure which is coming under programs will be deleted. Okay, so that is how it works. RM performs a tree walk and removes the files and subdirectories. See, this I have given in a different color. Why? Because RM is only deleting the files, right? I told you in the beginning only that RM is used only for deleting the files and not the directories. RMDIR is used for deleting the directories. But when you use RM with minus R option, the entire directory structure itself deleted. In this directory structure we have so many directories also. These are all the directories, right? S1, S2, S3, S4 are all directories. They will also be deleted. So RM, when you use with minus R option, it can be used for deleting subdirectories also. Then how to use it? RM minus R star. So RM minus R star means all the directories in your current directory and their directory structures will be deleted. Okay, everything will be deleted. Your current directory files, directories and their respective directories, under directories, subdirectories, everything will be deleted. Okay. If there is no backup kept for all those directory structures, you will be losing them forever. Okay, you will be losing them forever. You don't have chance to get them back. Okay, so if you say for deleting this directory structure, how you have to give the command is rm minus r programs. Okay, you have to give like this, rm minus r programs. Okay, So if you give like this, then this entire tree structure will be deleted. Okay, next, forcing removal. That means you are forcing something to be removed which is not supposed to be removed. Okay, forcibly you are removing something. RM prompts for removal of write protected file. Okay, it will prompt the removal of the write protected file. What is a write protected file? Write protected file is a file which doesn't have a write permission. What do you mean by write permission? Write permission means you can write into the file, you can modify the contents of the file. But what about write permission of a directory? How a directory can be written? A directory can be written by creating files or subdirectories into it. Whenever we have seen that whenever you create a directory, let us say D1 is created and I want to create some subdirectory within this, let us say S1 and a file F1. So now when I create S1 and F1 under D1, I am writing something into D1 because in D1 there will be an entry made. Okay, there will be an entry made of S1 and F1. The S1 name and its inode number, F1's name and its inode number entry will be made into the directory. So some information is written into the directory. So that means the write permission of the directory. Okay. So that is how a directory can be written. When you create a file or a subdirectory within a directory, you mean to say you are writing into the directory. Okay. So whenever a file is write protected means there is no write permission. You cannot remove or modify a file from a directory if write permission is not there. Okay. So then that becomes a write protected file. You don't have write permission. So that is a write protected file. You cannot remove that file also. Okay, so minus F will override it. Even if suppose when you are trying to delete this entire directory structure and there are some files, let us say F1 and F3 are those files which are write protected, don't have write permission, so you cannot remove them also. But if you give rm minus rf, you can say rm minus rf programs, then this entire directory structure will be deleted along with F1 and F3 even though they are write protected. Okay, so that is how you can remove the write protected files. Okay, this is the method how you can give. Rm minus R is recursive, F is forcible removal and star. So instead of star you can give here, in considering this our case, you can give programs. Then entire tree structure will be deleted, even the write protected files F1 and F3 will also be deleted. Okay, that is how RM can be used for removing the files and recursively the subdirectories. Okay, let us see the execution of the RM command. So I will not show you all the executions because some of them are dangerous to use, so you should not use it. I will show you only basic RM commands execution. So let us see what are the files present in our current directory. So we have F1, F2, let us delete F6 and F9. Okay, we want them for some other operation. So let us delete XYZ. Okay, let us delete XYZ and X2 we can delete. Okay, or test1, test2 we can delete. Okay, test1, test2. Let us say RM test1, test2. If you say test1, test2 RM, it will simply delete without any prompting. Okay, when you say test1, RM test1, it will simply be deleted. It will not ask you for confirmation. Okay, so let us see here, test1 is there, right? Here you can see test1 is there, but after removal you can check whether the test1 is existing. So now you can see test1 is not there, only test2 is there, test1 is not there, it is removed. Okay, and you don't have any other means of getting it back, it is removed forever. So now you can use RM with minus I option for interactive removal. RM minus I let us say test2 F55. Okay, two files, test2 and F55. Okay, and let us take one more, let us say new. Okay, three files I have taken, test2, F55 and new to be removed, and it is interactive. So let us say enter. So what it is telling you, before removing test2, it is asking remove the regular file. When you say Y, it will be removed. When it is asking F55 to be removed, you say N, it will not be removed. And simply if you say remove regular file new, then you will give enter, it will not be removed. Okay, now we can check whether they are existing or not. Test2, F55 and new. What we are supposed to have, let us check. So test2 is there, test2 is removed, right? F55 is there, yes, F55 is there because we said no to remove it. Then new is there, yes, new is also there because we just entered, we didn't enter any option, so it is also existing. But what about the test2? Because we give the confirmation yes to delete test2, it is removed. Okay, so that is how -I option with RM works. I will not show you the working of RM star because it deletes everything. You also please don't try that. And let us say recursive deletion. Let us see ls minus r recursively. Okay, so okay, we will check only programs because everything it is displaying, right? ls minus r programs. So now it is recursively showing you the programs. See, under programs, here under programs we have some files and directories, and under programs we have a directory called scripts here, right? It is giving in a different color, it is a directory. And then under scripts, see here under scripts we have some files. Okay, so let us try to delete the entire structure of programs. So let us say RM minus R, here you can use capital R or small r for recursion, programs. See, it is giving write protected file, it is prompting for asking you that this F1 is a write protected file, it doesn't have a write permission, do you want to remove this? If you say yes, it will remove, otherwise it will not remove. Okay, I will say no, it will not remove that. Okay, F1 file will not be removed from programs under scripts. Okay, so this will not be removed. Again F2 is also write protected, so this will also not be removed. So you cannot remove scripts because it is not empty, because F1, F2 are still existing. Okay, so you can delete them. Now it is again asking, do you want to remove F2? I will say yes, it will be removed. Okay, so likewise the entire tree structure you can remove by using the -R. But if you give -R and F, then it will not prompt you for deleting the write protected files. It will directly remove, it will not ask you confirmation for removing the write protected files. Okay, that is how the remove command, RM command can be used with files. So don't get confused with RM and RMDIR. RM is for removing the regular files, whereas RMDIR is used for removing the directories. The next command which we are discussing is MV command, which is used for renaming the files. Okay, you can rename the file. Suppose you have given some name, chapter 1, and you want to rename it as module 1, you can go for MV command. Let us see how we can use it. Two distinct functions of MV. It will do, the MV command will do two distinct functions. What are they? It will rename a file or a directory. You can rename a directory also, and also it can be used for moving a group of files to a different directory. Okay, there are some set of files, let us say F1, F2, F3 in my current directory, and I want to shift it to programs directory. That also I can do. Okay, So that is how I can use mv command. Either I can rename a file or a directory, or I can move. See, name itself is move, right? So move a set of files into a directory. So that is mv. Then the usage is like this. You give mv chapter 1 chapter 2. So what it will do? It will rename chapter 1 with chapter 2. So chapter 1 will no more be existing. See, it is different from copy. If you say cp instead of mv, chapter 1 will also be existing, but chapter 2 will also be existing. Okay, it will create a copy of chapter 1 and into chapter 2, but here this is mv, right? So mv means it will rename the chapter 1 itself as chapter 2. So chapter 1 will no longer be there, only chapter 2 will be there. Chapter 1 itself is renamed as chapter 2. Okay, doesn't create a copy, it only renames. Doesn't prompt for overwriting if the destination file exists. That means if chapter 2 is already existing and you are trying to move this here, it will not prompt you, it will not alert you, it will not give you, it will not take your confirmation for overwriting. If chapter 2 is already existing, it will simply overwrite it. So you should be cautious. So example here, move can be used with multiple arguments. Now if you say move chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, all these files, 3 chapter files, will be moved to a file called programs. Okay, will be moved to a file directory called programs. So this is the second function. This function we have discussed now. This second function, this is the operation. This is the first function. It renames a file or a directory, or you can move a set of files into a directory. Okay, so that is how move can be used. It can also rename a directory. You can not only file, it can rename a directory also. mv programs, new programs. Now what happens? This programs directory will be renamed as new programs. Okay, this programs directory will be renamed as new programs. So programs directory will no more be existing, it is renamed as new programs. -i option you can use with mv command. So -i option will take your confirmation before it is renamed. Okay, so this diagram you can see here, it depicts the cp, mv and rm commands. So what this here we have a directory, let us say the directory d1, name is d1. Okay, directory d1. In that it has only one file foo and the two built-in files dot and double dot. Okay, two built-in files dot and double dot. See that dot and double dot, dot represents current directory, double dot represents the parent directory, and they will be by default present when you create a directory. Okay, as soon as you create a directory, a fresh directory, by default they will be present. Okay, and now you have only this directory, foo directory, it is present. Okay, so let us say copy foo back. What does it mean? It will create a copy of foo. Okay, it will create a copy of foo and it will name it as foo.back. So two files are there, foo is also there, you can see here, foo is also there, foo back is also there, isn't it? Both are there. But if you say mv, mv means it will only rename, it will not create another file, it will rename the existing file. So here if you rename foo to bar, then see foo.back is there, but foo is renamed as bar, isn't it? Foo is renamed as bar. So only 4 files are only there, but foo is renamed as bar, another file is not created. Then when you say rm foo.back, that file entry will be removed from the d1 directory, that file entry will be removed from the d1 directory. So that is how the mv command, all these commands work. Okay, cp means it will create one more file, move means it will rename the existing file only, it will not create another file, rm means it will remove the entry in the directory. Okay, it will remove the file from the memory. Okay, let us see the okay, let us rename a file called F55 as F50. Okay. The existing. Okay, now let us see how we can move multiple files into a directory. Let us say MV, let us say F5 and F50. Both of them I am moving to a directory called programs. Okay, so let us say they are moved. Okay, so check whether they are there in the current directory F5 and F55. See, they are not there, they have been removed, right? So F5 and F50, they are not there in my current directory. Now they are removed to programs directory. Let us check whether they are existing in the programs directory or not by listing the contents of programs directory. Yes, they have entered into programs directory, right? A set of files you can move from your current directory to some other directory, okay, using the MV command. You can also use MV command with -i option. Let us say, let us move F6 and F9. Okay, let us take MV -i F6. Okay, spelling mistake. MV -i F5 and F6. F5 is removed, right? So which is another file, F6, and we have F9. Okay, F6 and F9 interactively I am moving to a directory called programs. So before moving it will prompt me. Okay, moving for a directory it is not prompting. Let us check. Rename without programs. It says F6 no such file or directory, because we have already moved it into programs directory, right? So F6 is not there. Let us change some other file. Let us change new to new20. There is a file called new2 here. There is a file called new2. Let us change it as new20. Let us say MV -i new2 to new20. I want to rename a file called new2 to new20. So what it will do? Okay, -i is not working here with MV. Okay, it is simply changing. Let us see whether it has changed or not. So you can try them in your PCs or laptops. Here it is not working. Okay, new20 is come here. New2 is changed to new20, but -i with MV is not working here. Okay, you can try in your laptops or PCs. Next command, let us discuss about the WC. We have already worked with WC. WC stands for word count. It is used for counting the number of lines, number of words and number of characters. Okay, that is the work of the WC command. It takes one or more files as arguments. it display 4 columnar output. What is that? So let us see. If you say cat F1, we have some contents like this. Okay. If we say cat F1, the content of F1 is hello and good morning, 2 lines. Okay. So when we say this WCF1 word count, I want to get the word count of F1, then I give WCF1, then what it will give you? It will give you 4 columnar output which is having 2, 3, 19 and F1. Okay, 2, 3, 19 and F1. What it is? This is the number of lines, this is the number of words, this is the number of characters, and this is the file name. Okay, so 4 columnar output it is going to give you. Okay. So character count, so when it counts the character, say it says 19. So here 2 lines are there, 3 words are there, hello, good morning, 3 words are there, but 19 characters, it includes the spaces. Character count includes the spaces. You may count here 19 characters, you may say that 19 characters are not there, but you should count the spaces also, tabs also, and new line characters also. Okay, there will be 2 new line characters, one here, the other one here. Okay, so 19 count you will get. Spaces, tabs and new lines will also be counted while giving the word count. Okay, this character count. So you can use WC with some options. The options are -L for counting only the number of lines, -W for counting only the number of words, and -C for counting only the number of characters. Okay, so these options you can use for counting only specific values you want, only lines, only words, and only character count you can get with WC. You can also use WC with multiple file names also as argument. So what it will give you? It will give you the word count of chapter 1 in one line, word count of chapter 2 in the next line, word count of chapter 3 in the third line, and also the total count of all these 3 files will also be given. Let us see, execute it and see how it actually works. Is it clear? WC, it is for word count, getting the word count. Okay, it will give you a 4 columnar output, it will give you the number of lines, number of words, number of characters as a whole. When you use -L, it will give you only number of lines, -W, it will give you only number of words, and when you use -C, it will only give you number of characters. And you can use it with multiple file names also. That means all the files character count individually in different lines it will give you, and also the total word count of these files will also be given. Let us execute and check. Okay, let us take a file called F10. Let us see what are the contents of F10. See, this is the content of F10. Okay, so hello, welcome to Unix programming. Programming is fun. Okay, so these 3 lines are there in F10. Let us find the word count of this F10 file. When you say WC F10, it gives you the 4 columnar output like this. So here 3 is the number of lines, 8 is the number of words, you can just count, and 53 is the number of characters in the file F10. Okay, it will give you like that. And you can use WC with options. If you say WC -L for getting only line count, F10. Only line count it is giving you 3, right? Similarly, if you say -C F10, only character count it will give you. And when you say WC with -W, only word count it will give you like this. Okay, only word count it is giving you. And also you can use WC with multiple file arguments. Let us say WC F10 F1 new and xstart. which we have created in the previous classes, right? So I have given FWC with F10, F1, new and X start. So all these files word count it has to give, and also it should give the total word count. See, like this it is giving. Okay, F10, F1, see here F10, F1, new and X start. For first 4 lines it is giving the word count of these files, respective files, and in the final line here the total word count of all these files it is giving you. Okay, all these files it is giving you. Suppose if you say WC with all these files and a file called VV, it says what it is giving. It is giving the word count of F10, F1, new and X start, but VV it says no such file or directory, and total word count it is displaying. Okay, so likewise it will handle. Okay, let us see another command. Let me clear the screen. Let us see another command called CMP, which is not in your syllabus, but it is better to know it. And the commands which I have taught you earlier, the T command and the script command, they were also not there in your syllabus. They are beyond the syllabus. Those are all nice commands, and when you want it you can use them if you know. So that's why I have explained. So there is another command called CMP, which stands for compare. It will compare the contents of the file. Okay, so let us say date command, and I will store it in a file. Okay, the output of date command I will redirect. Okay, it will not be displayed on the screen, but it will be passed on to a file called df, date file 1. Okay, so I will create one more file, same way, store the same date in df2, let us say. Okay, now let us check the contents of both of them, cat df1 and df2. Are they same? No, they are different in seconds. Almost they are having same contents, but here there is a difference, right? In the time, in the above, first df1 43 is there, the seconds, and df2 59 is there. So where it is different, it will compare both of the files df1 and df2. Compare command will compare both the files df1 and df2, and it will tell you where exactly the difference is coming. Okay, so let us see CMP df1 and df2. See where difference is existing. df1, df2, they differ in the 18th character of line 1. Okay, they differ in the 18th character of line 1. That is what it is displaying. Okay, so that is how you can compare two different files for checking their contents are same or not. Okay, you can have two files of the same content. Let us say cat, let me create a file, cat, let us say cat node. I will simply say hello. Let me say Control D. So one file is created. I will copy this file node to another file called node2. Okay, another file called node2 I will copy. Now the copying is done. You can check the contents of both the files, node and node2. Both are same, right? So now you can use compare command to check whether they are same or not. Say node and node2. It is not giving you any output because the contents of both node and node 2 are same. Okay, that's why it will not give you any output. When it is not giving you any output, it means that the contents of node and node 2 are same, exactly the same. Okay, That is how you can use the CMP command. Okay, that's all for today. We'll learn some more commands in the next class. Have a good day. Bye bye. Have a great weekend.